This chapter brings us something a little new, which apparently is a good old needle distribution program. It says here that they've been distributing free packages of syringe needles, opioid drugs, and Narcan inside 3 of Santa Monica's parks. And what we're seeing, the result is people are dying anyway. Addicts are ODing or being poisoned by fentanyl or any combination of the two. Let's bring John back on the show for an update on this story, because it looks like it involves, look at that, Barbara Ferrer from the LA County Health Department. John, how are you?
Good. It's good talking to you again.
Yeah, so explain what's going on there in Santa Monica with this handing out of needles.
Well, things have declined. We now have 2 to 3 reported people dying from overdoses per week on the sidewalks and on the grassy areas of our parks.
And that's a lot for Santa Monica. 3 a week?
2 to 3 a month. I'm sorry. 2 to
a month. Okay.
2 to 3 a week. No, 2 to 3 a week. 2 to 3 a week. That's verified by the police. And I personally witnessed 2 in the last 2 weeks. And they're covered up, and those are just the ones that are reported. Nobody ever finds out what happens to the poor people, what their names are. But we're losing control of our parks. 72% of our residents live in apartments, and the parks are their backyards.
Right.
They're being taken over by the needle distribution, which has been going on secretly before we discovered it last March. It's been going on since 2019. So 3 mayors knew about it. No council people knew about it. And our current mayor, Glenn Davis, was mayor back in 2019. She knew about it. And we put out a petition, and we have garnered so far, just short, in 5 weeks, 11,000 letters sent out to the city, state senators, and to county the Board of Health and Barbara Ferrer. And guess what? The city's blocked our emails. So we'll find another way for them to see it. But 11,000 letters, and mostly from residents. Businesses are just finding out about this. And it didn't just start in the park. It started in the 3rd Street Promenade, if you can believe it, on a retail street. And it started on a privately owned property occupied by 7-Eleven. So we met with Barbara Ferrer. We insisted on it. She didn't want to do it. She wanted to do it by phone. We insisted on a direct in-person meeting. And she admitted she couldn't give us any financial data on the needle distribution program. We don't know how many county, and in this case, they're using the Venice Family Clinic employees to help them. They're not taking any referrals or contacts for follow-up mental health, sobriety, or drug programs. We had a couple members, including myself, go into the parks. Mm-hmm. And I was offered needles. Not 1, 2. And she said, well, we'll pull back and we'll distribute them from the curbside. It was a lie. They continue to go into the parks. And she said, if you fight us on this, we'll go into the private rooms within the parks. And I said, gosh, that doesn't make much sense. We've got a senior center, a youth center, and a tennis reservation office. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And
the parks are not meant for their needle distribution program. You're right. The parks are meant for people's recreation and enjoyment. Nobody should be catering to drug addicts in public parks. Did you say this is coming from the LA County Department of Health, but it's being carried out by this Venice Family Clinic handing out the needles?
Yes, exactly. It's known now to the city. The city council voted and asked the county last September to move it into a county or city-owned building away from the parks. Forget about the merits of the program, which they have no metrics of success for. We said, or the city said, please move it out of the parks. Her response was to expand it into 3 parks. And everyone's been quiet on city council. Last week, the city manager, who's appointed by the city council, signed a joint proclamation saying that the city supports the program and is in hand with the county. So we asked the council members, who's the city? Is it the city council, the mayor, city manager, who you appoint? Who is it? And they don't have an answer. I think they're scrambling to find an answer right now. But Barbara Ferrer has this perverted way of thinking. It's a perverted program. It's corrupt, and it's hurting the most vulnerable. 30% of these people are women. They're being attacked at night by other women, being jumped. We took a walk on Ocean Avenue yesterday, Palisades Park, overlooking the bluffs where most of the major hotels are. And we found open drug use. I asked one of the homeless where I could get drugs. I said, where can I get some meth? And he said, well, if I wasn't on camera, I would tell you, but it's within 50 yards from here. And there's syringes on the ground. We're picking them up. The city doesn't pick them up. The county doesn't pick them up. So we've got a big problem. And now the hotels and the restaurants have spoken before city council and said, look, we need more police. The ambassadors are watching. It's not working.
Well,
the private security is not working. We need more police. The chief has said we need 280 officers. We're down under 200 if you include the recruits. So it's a disaster. It's a very poorly run city.
Now, you're saying since they started this needle distribution program, you found out it probably started in 2019, that there's more dead people in Santa Monica from drug overdoses.
Definitely. A year ago, we were seeing deaths on the sidewalks, the alleys, and on the promenade, 3 to 4 a month. Now we're seeing 2 to 3 a week. That's huge. And we think it's direct correlation to this program.
When are you guys going to have an election? You got to get these council members out. I mean, honestly, if you have that many people that support what's going on there, John, or that many people that support your coalition, they should be starting to vote these people out of office. When are elections coming up? This is ridiculous. If this is a big issue, they got to go.
That's our goal. One vote at a time, one person at a time to get interested. The subject on the ballot has always been rent control, which is not going away in that city. And that's what the main emphasis is on, and people aren't paying attention. And that's our goal, to reach everybody. The people that are hurt most, the poor people, middle-income people that can't walk the streets. They want to walk their dogs at night. They can't. We have people walking around. We have a video yesterday of a guy walking around pounding cars and pounding street ballards with a 6-inch or 8-inch cast iron pipe, hitting city-owned trucks. It's totally out of control.
All right, John, thanks for talking to me again, and keep us updated, because this is horrendous. But you're really going to have to find a way to get these people. You said 11,000 have signed your petition to get these people out of office who are managing this. Thank you so much for coming on.
You take care.
All right. The Santa Monica Coalition.org is their website. That's John Alle, the founding member. And, of course, all this has to do with a needle distribution program apparently advocated and authorized by the LA County Health Department. The Venice Family Clinic is handing out free packages of syringe needles. And more people are just ending up dead. This is this horrific idea of harm reduction. Keep in mind those two words. They used them during COVID, which made some sense because the idea of locking everybody down, this became a buzzword. Harm reduction, you take a mask, you get a vaccine, you try to limit the harm. But when it comes to drug users and homeless people, harm reduction is horrific. All it means is tolerance. And we're going to stand by with Narcan to see if we can't save your life. And, of course, that's not going to happen. And in Santa Monica, it's not happening often enough. All right, I got more coming up.